here's Sue Cross.
Good morning. Happy gray morning. I like the gray, all right. Well, gosh, we only have one event left in September. Isn't that amazing? We did it all. And that's our congregational meeting next Sunday, 11:30 here in Bridge Hall. So be sure to be ready to spend some extra time here next Sunday. Then, of course, we have our ongoing Monday night meditations. October is just as packed as September was. So I'm going to read you some dates and quick titles, and then, of course, it's all in your bulletin and the Sandpiper. October 5th, movie screening of Bad Faith. That'll also be at 11:30 here in Bridge Hall, right? And the director, Stephen Ujulaki, will be here to tell us a little bit about it. October 16th, A Night of Peace and Healing with Stacy Pendleton. October 20th, The Blessing of the Animals. So be sure to get your pet all groomed and looking cute. And then October 24th, Mike's going to help us throw a party. Yeah. Okay, that's it for now. Did I forget anything, Pastor Rod? Okay, Mike?
Is the Monday night meditation, do you ever do Om on the Range? Do you ever sing that? That's
Yes.
a great song.
Yes.
In the meditation, do they sing Home on the Range?
Om on the Range. And then for the blessing of the animals, we always go, something in the way she... Have you ever done that one? That's a good one. Just to brighten up Monday morning. I mean,
Okay.
Sunday morning.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We need a shot in the arm there. All right, thank you. Happy Sunday. Welcome, welcome. And, yeah, gray. But you know what? I like it better than being hot in here. So it's cool. So I want to, first of all, thank George, for another fantastic report and updating the SIA committee information there. Thank you, George. SIA needs to thank committee members George Heed for another splendid report. And I want to announce that if you think you want to be or think you're supposed to be on the SIA committee, please let me know. Because if you're not getting the emails and stuff and you don't know about the meetings, let me know so that I can get you on the list. I suspect there might be one or two people that are wanted to be on it and they're not, and I didn't know. So you have to let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. Spirit in Action now has an increased budget, allowing us to provide recipients to support depressed portions of the community. We're going through our allocations to update it for recommendations to the board. That's what we do in our committees. We recommend. Setting a date for Mission Moment Showcase. That means we're going to have a Sunday here in the near future, within the next probably 4 weeks, where we will be having Spirit in Action Committee giving you a presentation on each one of the programs that we are kind of obligated ourselves to pursue. And so, little couple of quick reminders that the November 17th, Concern America. Do you remember the craft fair we had here last year? And oh shoot, I missed putting it in the notes, Rod. On that day, we're also doing, what was it, on the day of November 17th, we're doing the craft fair and... Okay, okay, was there any other event happening on that day? Okay, all right. So just a couple of reminders that Proposition 5, if you're not familiar with it, I mentioned it last week, and that allows the local bonds for affordable housing and public infrastructure to be passed with a 55% voter approval instead of the current 65, which is kind of extreme and prevents us from getting a lot of things that we need. Proposition 33 expands local government authority to enact rent control on their own locally and on residential properties, and that's an initiative statute. The Kennedy Commission in Orange County is a regional partner for the Yes on Prop 5 movement, so I just thought I'd mention that. And so they're working with all the leaders across the state to bring that out. If anybody wants to find out more or look into the Kennedy Commission, who specializes in basically that's all they do is affordable housing, it's at www.kennedycommission.org, real simple, okay, if you want to look into it. Last statement I want to make, it is $49.92 is the hourly wage that is needed to rent a home throughout Orange County. It's higher in Laguna. So that's just a little statistic I thought I'd throw out there. So does anybody have any questions about the things I just enumerated? And don't forget about the party. All right. Thank you for your time, and thank you for everything that everybody does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Good job. Good job as always. Let's have a hand for Mike Soto, everybody. And also for Sue Cross, you're doing an amazing job as our moderator, my friend, as always. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to our party on October 24th. I think it's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss it. A great opportunity to be together, to have a little pre-election fun. And so invite your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones to be here with us on October 24th. Let's go into our gathering words for the morning. I will read here, and then I'll ask you to read the ones in italics. It says, "Our earth home, mother and cradle of life, blessed is your name. Blessed are your fields and forests, your rocks and mountains, your sky lit with radiant sun and moon and stars." Blessed are our green relatives who give so freely to us, air to breathe, sweet fruits and nourishing seeds and vegetables to eat, shade and shelter and beauty. Blessed are all our human relatives too. Believing we were apart from the rest of our earth home, we've scarred her deeply. Yet humbly now, we seek to honor what we have harmed, and we are received with blessing, for earth does not reject her beloved children. Amen.
We had such a great response singing Wade in the Water last week. We're going to do it again. And if I failed to mention George, where is he? Is he there? I'm so glad you're back. I woke up this morning thinking about your egg salad, so I'm just putting that out there. Here we go. Wade. Come on now. Hey, listen, if I seem a little irreverent, I apologize. It's we're in the middle of rehearsing Lagunatics right now. So everything we say and do seems silly to me because I'm in that mode. But just a reminder, we open a week from Friday, and it runs for 3 weekends at No Square Theater. I don't think we're doing anything about this group. I thought about that for a minute. I thought, are we doing? But we're not.
You
But
should.
I
You
know.
should.
I know. But everything else that's gone on
Yeah.
this year, you're going to absolutely love.
Yeah, you should.
And it's called
Yeah.
Laughing Matters,
Awesome.
which is
Yeah.
really true.
I think do something about us. I want to see it.
Well, I'm going to do
All
my
right.
impression of
Okay.
you.
All right, there you go. I look forward to seeing it.
I'm
All
going to
right.
be doing that a lot,
All right.
walking around.
All right.
NoSquare.org, O-R-G, NoSquare.org. And it's 3 weekends. The last night is the big gala, the big fundraiser. And it's where we have a lot of items. It just keeps the theater going, and it gives us a chance to really laugh at ourselves.
I love it. I
Not
love
take
it.
ourselves so
I love it. I
seriously.
love it.
So,
Roxanna Ward, everybody. Thank you.
30 years we've been doing it.
I want to invite you to take a moment to get out of your seats and say good morning to someone. Let's do it. Let's do it, okay? Say good morning.
The last Sunday, so it starts on the 27th, but go online, nosquare.org, O-R-G, and the gala is really fun. Say it again? Oh, God, yes, she's like my sister. Right. Right. She's just the best. Oh, it's just everything, Rod. We should have done something about him. We should have done something about you. I mean, I didn't even think about that. Could have been hysterical. No, it's all right. We're so behind. No, we're still so far behind. We'll give you a cameo. Okay. Well, we're doing, what's his name, Alex, the young councilman? Uh-huh. It's, we're doing the number I'm Not Ken, for Barbie, but it's I'm Pro Tem. Oh, and it is hysterical. And they're doing Promenade. We're doing that Victoria Beach Karen, the one that got on. It is fun. And we always do our votes. We always do our votes.
Well, a cameo works just fine. You can pay me later. I'll take it.
You ain't get paid. You already got a sabbatical show.
Come back together. I'd like to ask a few people to join me more in the front. I need some energy in the front. So before you sit, I need some energy up here in the front. Who's going to join me? I need some energy. Robbie, would you join me in the front? I need some energy in the front. I feel alone up here. Let's get some energy going. Up here in the front. Thank you. Yeah, I need some energy up here. Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you.
Oh, you too.
Yeah, a little more energy. Kate Hennessy, can I get you up here when you're finished? Can I get you up here? Thank you. Yes, and Patricia, if you can be here in the front. Yeah, let's get some energy. I need some energy in the front. Would you join? All right. Thank you. All right, thank you, folks. So what I'd like to do to get us started today, I just want to express a word of gratitude. Oh, y'all can sit. You can sit. Yeah, you can sit. Thank you. I want you in the front. Yeah, I want you in the front. Yeah. I need some energy. in the front. So here's what I'd like to do. I want to express a word of gratitude to the folks who participated in our book group on The Courage to Be Disliked. That was an awesome reading. and it was a great opportunity to be mindful about setting the intentions that we create for our lives, the intentions that we live into. Now, I know for many people, there's a sort of focus on the Freudian way. That is, we are determined by our past. There's a strong connection between who we are now and what we used to be. That's very Freudian. And of course, Adler is putting us in a mindset that's all about looking forward, having an intention about keeping our eyes in that direction and not looking in that direction. I find the two very interesting. When you really dig into their philosophies, there's a lot more they have in common than not. And I appreciate that because philosophy has this wide way of bringing us back to the essence of who we are. And no matter how you enter it, no matter how you come at it, no matter what door you enter, it always comes back to a curiosity about the essence of what it means to be human and to be alive. Someone asked me recently, am I a Freud person or am I an Adler person? My answer was yes. And that's why I'm glad we read the book, because we were able to look at it with a wide lens and a curious heart. Speaking of that, let me offer this reading from my friend Jennifer per year. It says, where do we need a breakthrough? What is the barrier that's keeping us from asking for healing? In our own lives, we need to break through our denials, our defensiveness, and our unwillingness to look at ourselves. Discovering what the barrier is in my life is critical. And if we don't know what the barrier is, then these final days of summer are a great time to reflect on it. For when we identify the barrier, we have made the breakthrough. And that's when Spirit can heal us of it, all of it. Why is this a good summer practice? Because it gets my attention where I live every day. It allows love's grace into my soul and into the place where my real life exists. That's where love starts and stands with me every day, waiting for me to be lowered from the roof of my obsessions so she can touch me and heal me. That's from my friend Jennifer per year. Hi, Jim. Hi, Karen. Come on in. So I've been reflecting. I've been thinking about this idea of the place in which I stand and sit in my life. And I got to admit to you that this book really put me in a place of wonderment about the intentions I'm setting, not just as a leader of NCC, but again, as a human being and as someone who wants to contribute a positive life in this world. This book forced me to reassess my own intentions for my life. And it's funny, when I first started reading the book, my original thought was that I would sort of focus on my own sort of working out of the stress and tension that I had been experiencing recently because of our housing project. All the criticism and all the tension, all the yard signs and the social media posts that I've been seeing about our work. This book was originally intended to help me fortify my backbone. It was originally intended to give me a breath of fresh air to keep pushing through the craziness and to have the courage to keep going. That was the original intent of reading the book. Amen. And let me be clear, I got that. But it's interesting, as I went through the process, something more began to unlock in me. Something else began to emerge. I went to a deeper place about setting intentions that went more and far beyond simply just saying, I have the courage to stand in the midst of the tension. Yeah. The book gave me that, but it also force me to be in wonder about what it means to walk and chew gum at the same time. I was reminded of the story of Jesus and all the great spiritual teachers who, in their own experience, brought us to that same place of wonderment about our intentions. And there are so many texts, and I can't talk about them all today because I don't have the time, but I'll just recall one in the book of Luke, I think it's chapter 4, where Jesus enters his hometown synagogue. And they ask him to recite a text, the text for the day. And he reads it. And it's all about inclusiveness and welcoming and building a better world. It's about all those things, all those beautiful, wonderful things. He goes on to talk about the need to stand up against empire and authority, to set the captives free, to be that vessel of strength and courage in a crazy world. He spoke a message of economic liberation. He spoke a message of taking off the need to follow the grain, to go along with the empire. He spoke a message of freedom, breaking down the chains, tearing down the boundaries, and working for a better world. And that felt really good. That sounded really nice to the people. It sounded sweet and complimentary and joyful. A good, nice, churchy message. But he didn't stop there, Michelle, as you know. He went on. Because after he identified himself in the community by telling them the story they already knew, he went further than that. He went on to talk about this need to expand, this need to be intentional, this need to move the deck chairs out just a little bit further and to make room, big room, wide room for the stranger, for the foreigner, for the outsider. Now it's interesting that at this moment, the people grew silent. You could hear a pin drop in the room, Mike. Because he was beginning to push back against the idea that many of them had in their minds that they were somehow special. That they had a kind of special status, a kind of exceptionalism. And he pushed back against that us and them mentality. He made it clear that if we're going to be the community of love that we profess ourselves to be, we got to expand that circle. And we got to bring in those outsiders. We got to have a message for the Romans as well as the Jews. He was getting to the fact that if we're going to be all about healing ourselves, if we're not attending to what's happening out there, we won't ever fully realize what we're seeking after in here. I'm going to share a secret with you later. But before I do, I want to offer with you what this means to me, what I just shared with you. I have enjoyed a privilege as your pastor these past 7+ years. And it's a privilege that I've taken for granted. It's a privilege that I have just assumed to be normal and acceptable, something we don't even need to talk about because it just is. I've been fortunate as your pastor to enjoy this special status. Perhaps you don't even know that it exists because it's become so normalized in our community. It's become so obvious that maybe we don't even acknowledge it anymore because it's just been the way that it is. I have enjoyed this status. I have basked in this status. I have boasted about this status. I have talked about this publicly. I have made this a part of who we are. I have spoken so openly and jubilantly about this status that you've afforded me these past 7+ years. So I don't mean to stand here and say that it's somehow bad. I don't mean to suggest that it's somehow evil or otherworldly or misplaced or misguided. I simply am standing here today to say that this special status, there's more to it than that. This book has pushed me to think about the more to it. But before I get to the more to it, let me share with you the status. Here's the status. The status is, as a black man serving a white church, primarily white church, look around. You can verify it for yourself. I have enjoyed a status where you don't expect me all the time to get up and talk about how bad racism is, because we just know. You don't expect me to preach at every Sunday sermon about the ill of racism. That's not an expectation that you gave me when I started as your pastor 7 years ago. You gave me the freedom to say what was on my heart and what was in my spirit. But you never required me to do what so many churches do on a Sunday morning. Name the oppression, name the ill, name the sin. See, we're so smart here, we're so intellectually grounded, we're so academically prepared that you don't need to be reminded of this stuff every Sunday. So I thought. And I've enjoyed the status of not having to do what so many of my African American preacher friends do on a every Sunday, every week basis. Because if they don't name that reality, if they don't name that situation, if they don't name that circumstance, anything they say after that mic gets ignored. So on the one hand, I thank you for the freedom of the pulpit. I'm not abdicating that. I'm not giving that away. I'm not suggesting we change that. However, at the same time, I am standing before you today and I'm admitting that I've taken it for granted. I've taken it for granted. That special status. And what I'm offering to you today, what I'm suggesting for you today, is that I am going to do my level best to never again take that special status for granted. Because every now and then, we must be reminded of how evil things are out there. Every now and then, we have to be reminded that racism is still real in America. And we have to be reminded that white privilege is still white privilege in America. And we have to be reminded that no matter how good we feel we are on the inside, whether we had something to do with the creation of white privilege or not, whether we're perpetuating it or not in our homes, in our businesses, in our circumstances, among our neighbors, whether we are responsible or not, it still exists. And it must be confronted, and it must be prodded, and it must be rooted out. It must be plucked up. It must be head-on destroyed if we're going to be the community we say we want to be. So my commitment to you is that I will stop taking that for granted. I will treat it with the respect that it deserves. I will honor it with the truth that it entails. I will speak truth to that power. I will name the people affected. I will highlight the communities still affected. I will call out how even the pernicious ill of racism actually has a stream in Laguna Beach. I didn't hear an amen on that, but that's okay. Is there an amen in the room? I will note that racism affects all of us. This is not just a black thing and a non-white thing. Racism is tied up in privilege. It's tied up in exceptionalism. It's tied up in economics. It's tied up in power. It's tied up in status. We are talking about a mashup of stuff that gets mixed together that creates that oppression. It's not just one thing. It's many things. We got to hit it over and over again. We got to make it real for those who are unaware or ignorant. See, ignorance just means you don't know. It's not a bad thing. Ignorance just simply means no one told you yet. So we will do our best. We will do our level best to call it out for what it is, to never again ignore it, and to make it clear that we are here to push back and root it out, even in Laguna Beach. I grew up in a privileged environment in Tennessee. Yeah, I had privilege. I had privilege. Now, I'm not saying that it's the same as white privilege, because white privilege is white privilege, but we're talking about me for a moment. I had privilege growing up. Now, you may ask yourself, how is it possible that Pastor Rod had privilege? Well, see, here's the deal. While I went to a black church, and I celebrated and lived among a black family for almost 20 years, every day for my life, I also went to a predominantly white elementary school in Memphis. You probably didn't know that. But that afforded me a kind of life where I was exposed to multiple perspectives at a very young age. You know, I had culture shock in elementary school. Culture shock didn't happen to me when I got to college. I was already in it. Yeah, I dealt in my predominantly black environment, hearing the stories, hearing the hurts, hearing the pains, hearing the struggles, understanding the problems, environmental, economic, democratic, health-wise. I heard all of that on a daily basis. But at the same time, for 6 years, I went to that predominantly white elementary school and was exposed to another side, other perspectives. I saw privilege in other forms. I saw how that kind of misguided, wrong thinking affects children even today. The way they talked about other people, the words they used, the evil things they said about immigrants and black folks, and even in some cases, women. But let me also be clear. I also heard from an incredible set of classmates who were actually quite compassionate and loving and beautiful and inclusive. What I'm getting at here is I heard it all in elementary school. Good, bad, and indifferent. I heard it all. And then I went to college. And I was forced to confront that. I was forced to get real about white privilege and how it affects our country and our world. I was forced to get real about how it affects so many parts and pieces of society, relationships and power and corporations and media and entertainment. I would say for the better part of maybe 10 to 15 years before I came to you, that was the sort of playpen that I was in. I did the nonprofit organizing. I raised money for various organizations. I served in black congregations where it was all about social equity and social justice, reconciliation, harmony, and inclusiveness. This was me before I came to you. You must understand why I'm saying this. And because of that part of my life, that first part of my adult life, when I came to you, I got a chance to do something different. I got a chance to be different. I got a chance to speak differently. I got a chance to get up and talk about that intention of creating a beautiful, loving, and compassionate world. And I loved it. It's like an elixir. It's addictive. It feels good. It's like the intention that the book is pointing at. You set the intention and you live into the intention. But now I'm standing before you today and I'm admitting to you that part of my life, I need to recover. I need to renew for you and for me, for our spiritual center and for the world. See, because that way of doing, that way of being, it affects everybody. All these ills, all these oppressions, they impact all kinds of communities. If you look at the problem of health care among African Americans, you see that it seeps over into poor and economically challenged white communities. If you look at the situation related to criminal justice reform, yes, it is disproportionately affecting people of color, but make no mistake about it, there are white communities as well that also need the same healing and the same restoration and the same peace that comes with criminal justice reform. See, I'm not talking about an us and them way of being. I'm actually talking about something that can heal all of us, heal our communities, heal our state, heal our nation, heal our world. I got to reclaim that. We got to reclaim that. I promised you that I would let you in on a secret. You ready for the secret? Are you ready for the secret? Are you ready for the secret? I heard one person, I don't think anybody wants to hear my secret. Well, that's one, but that's not the one. Thank you, Michelle. I got another one. I was listening to a friend of mine sermonize about this recently, and I couldn't disagree with him more. I actually called him and had a conversation about it with him on the phone. He was giving a message to his church on the East Coast. I won't say where because people watch. But it's interesting. In his message, the question was posed, if you had to sum up the way of Jesus in a few words, what would it be? If you had to sum up the way of Jesus in a few words, what would it be? And that was not his answer. His answer was not that. His answer was, just be nice. Just be nice. Now, let's be clear. I don't have a problem with just be nice. I want to be clear. Sometimes you want someone to just be nice. When you're crossing the street, you want someone to just be nice. Okay? All right? Okay? You don't, when someone is deciding whether or not to enter your home and do bad things to you, you want them to be nice to you, right, Mike? Okay. So we are not saying something bad about just being nice. That's not what this is. But here's the secret. We don't need church to just be nice. We don't need our spiritual center in order to just be nice. You can just be nice and not cheat on your partner. You can just be nice and not embezzle from your job. You can just be nice and not hit someone who's crossing the street. You don't need a church to encourage you to just be nice. We don't need a spiritual center to just encourage us to just be nice. The world can manage to just be nice without the church. The world can manage to just be nice without our spiritual center. When Jesus is giving his message of economic liberation, he's going so much more deeper than that. And he's pointing to a need to rethink the way and the order of things. He's pushing for a major overhaul, a re-examination, an intentionality about love and inclusiveness and welcoming and inclusion in the world. And he's doing this understanding that it's not going to make everybody feel good. It's not going to bring comfort to the happy. It's not going to bring comfort to those who are in their safe position. It's not going to bring comfort to those who have everything that they could ever want and more. He understands that he's putting up a message. He's putting up a clarion call. He's putting out a challenge. He's putting out a question. He's putting out an invitation to speak up on behalf of the masses, to offer a message for the least of these, to offer a way that uplifts everybody, that creates a pathway to flourishing and thriving and living in a way that brings communities forward, that lifts up families, that offers options for children, that gives a way forward for our youth. In other words, I believe his revolutionary message looks something like this. Let's show him, Cyrus. Next one. Keep going. One more. He was facing the reality. He felt equality is nice, but it's not the end all. He liked the idea of justice because it levels the playing field. But make no mistake about it, he was all about equity, because equity is going the extra mile. Equity is putting some skin in the game. Equity is putting your heart and your resources where your mouth is. I like justice. I want equity. That's what he said to his people. That was the message that nearly got him killed that day. The story says that people were so riled up, they were so upset about what he said, that they actually thought about killing him. There was actually talk about throwing him out and over the cliff. Yeah, because his message was so radical and so inclusive, and it leveled that thinking. No more special status, no more taking for granted, no more exceptionalism, no more privilege. And lest anyone be mistaken, what I'm saying right now is not partisan. What I'm saying right now is not partisan. It's spiritual. What I'm saying right now is not partisan. It's human. What I'm saying right now is not partisan. This is for everybody. What I am saying is political. Did you hear what I said? It's not partisan. It is political. It's not partisan. It is political. Because I believe everything I've said today can appeal to people on all sides of the political aisle. I believe what I've said today is a universal message. No matter how you come at this, no matter what your solution is, no matter what ideas you offer, people of all political stripes can come to the table of justice and equity and work on building a better world. I believe that in my core. Because it's political, not partisan. I need you to do that gymnastics with me. I need you to do that emotional gymnastics. I need you to do that. I need you to do that mental work with me. Because if I can't get your agreement on that, then we can't do anything. If I can't get your buy-in to what I just said, then we're dead in the water. So I need you to understand with me, to work with me on this, to wrestle with me on this, that in order to do the work of caring for our communities and the least of these, for the masses, for the populace, we got to get to a place where this conversation, we accept that it is political, but it's not partisan. I need to know that you understand that, because if you can't, if you have questions, if it's a place of tension, if it's an area that you haven't heard before, maybe you weren't introduced to this before, maybe a church never said it, maybe a pastor never said it, maybe a church told you that you should never talk about these issues, maybe someone stood up to you who called himself a pastor and said that Jesus was apolitical, that he had no political message, that he had nothing to say to what's happening in the wider world. Maybe you heard that from somebody else, and I'm standing before you today to say that that's misguided, it is wrong, and it misses the point. We don't need to just be nice. We can get that somewhere else. Now the message is to work together and to offer a message that speaks to the importance of justice and equity in our world. Will we have to put skin in the game? Yes. Will we have to give up our power and influence? In some cases, yes. Will we have to be willing to go the extra mile and get uncomfortable in order to support initiatives and projects and ideas that further that needle, that move that forward? Absolutely. Now, let me wrap it up with this. I want to make two comments and then I'll shut up. We have already committed ourselves to an agenda that is for housing and economic equity. We did that 3 years ago. You remember that? It was 3 years ago, 2021. Anybody remember that? We took a vote and we agreed at that time that as part of our spiritual center work, we would focus on housing and economic equity. Now, I am proud to say that we've already begun to do that. If you look at our affordable housing project, it is clear that we see the value of offering affordable housing, because that will begin the process of righting the wrongs of economic privilege and inequity. If someone has a home to live in that they can afford, then they can begin to work on those other parts of their lives that need the same flourishing, their health, their education, their well-being, their long-term care. All those things are just a little bit easier to do when you got a place to live in that you can afford. So make no mistake about it, we are already moving the needle forward for housing and economic equity, and I have you to thank for that. You should give yourselves a hand. You're doing that. You're doing that. You. What I'm wondering about now, what I'm asking myself now is, what else can we commit to? What else can we do? What else can we do to keep pushing that forward? What can we support? What can we honor? What can we elevate? What can we celebrate that will continue to move that needle forward? And I'd like you to be in conversation with me. I'd like you to send me emails, meet with me, talk. Let's talk to Mike in Spirit and Action. Let's have a conversation about this. What else can we think about that would move this needle forward? We're already on the path. What else can we do? That's the question I have for you today. And then my last thought. I believe in my heart that our spiritual center, the platform that we're creating, the opportunity that we're extending to the world, I believe in my heart not only that this is what the world needs, but it's what we need. This commitment that we're offering to reconciliation and compassion and hope, these are meant to heal ourselves as well as the wider world. I believe in my heart that this work is so vital, it's so critical. Jesus asked us to do it. All the great teachers put us in the same mindset to do the exact same work. So here's my final thought. You know that as part of my sabbatical next year, it is my intention to take some time to examine my own intentions. I'm going to go and talk to people. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to ask some hard questions. I'm going to talk to some experts. I'm going to learn some family history. I'm going to be in wonder about my own intentions, why I do what I do. Do I do it for my own personal gain? Do I do it for fame or fortune? Do I do it because I want someone to worship me? Do I do it because I want a community to thrive? Do I do it because I want people to live and be expansively loved? Do I do it because Jesus commanded it? No matter what the cost, no matter what the tale, no matter what the need, we do it because it's good for the wider world. I'm going to take some time and examine my own intentions for why I do what I do, why I'm here with you, why I want a spiritual center, why I want it to thrive, why I want it in Laguna Beach. I'm going to take time to check in with myself about why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's good to do. So here's what I'm asking. Well, here's what I'm asking. Your sabbatical committee, the people who are working with me on this sabbatical timeline, we're going to be in conversation with your support about how our whole community can be called to a place of examination of our own intentions. See, it's not just enough for me to do this work. See, I just admitted to you that I took you for granted. That took work. So now, we all have an opportunity to examine our intentions so that we can check ourselves and be in wonder about how we can come into alignment between action and intention. Intention and action. So I'd like you to be open. I'd like you to keep an open mind. I'd like you to keep an open heart. I'd like you to keep a pathway of curiosity alive in your spirits, because I think while I'm away, you could be here doing the same thing, a same examination, the same wonderment, the same correction, the same living. Starting today, hearing the message that you heard today, hopefully you'll begin the process with me of that today. Thank you, Patricia. But I'm setting aside that special moment next year when I'm not here. See, both can be true at the same time. I want you to think about it now, but I want you to be prepared while I'm gone, when I'm not among you, when you can't see me, that you do some of the same work I'm doing. Now, if you have questions about this, let's talk. If you want to talk about examination, let's do that. If you want to get some coffee and tea, let's do that. Prepare your hearts to be thinking about this now. about your own heart, your own intentions, our spiritual center purpose. Start doing that mental gymnastics work now. Start doing those leaps and bounds between partisanship and politics. Start doing those leaps and bounds between equity and justice. Start doing those leaps and bounds between the work we do and the lives we live. Start doing those mental gymnastics between simply saying things and putting those things into action. Start doing that now. Talk to me now. And let's prepare for my sabbatical to be just as heart-loving, as challenging, and as expanding as your sabbatical when I'm not here. Because just being nice is never enough.
Spirit of gentleness. Spirit of wind on the sea. From tomorrow, from the bondage of sorrow, your people. That was beautiful. Oh, I can see clearly now. The rain has gone. I think I was thinking something else. Do you remember this song? Do you remember who sang it? Anybody? No? Johnny Nash. That's it, Johnny Nash. And I can see clearly now. I think Vaughn did it too. It's gonna be a bright all the bad feelings. Look all around. I forgot how that goes. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. My music's flying all over the place. I can't see clearly. I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. It's gonna be a It's gonna be a One more time. It's gonna be a Good singing. Sorry about that. The music flew.
I spoke a little longer than I usually do, but I hope it was for a good purpose. Did you learn something today? Yeah. Did you learn something today? Did you hear something today? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Okay, let's do this real quick. Before we do the real quick, Kate, I want to just take a moment to offer a word of gratitude. For those who aren't already aware, we began a mindfulness meditation program some months ago that has really been going well these past few months. We meet every Monday morning at 5:30. Monday afternoon at 5:30 in the sanctuary. Not morning. 5:30 afternoon in the sanctuary every Monday. It's awesome. You should participate if you are able. Meditation, a beautiful thing. Maya hosted a meditation retreat back in July, which was awesome. And then yesterday, Susan Huff hosted a mindfulness meditation here, which I heard was also beautiful and well attended. My point is, if you have an opportunity to hook into some of this stuff, I invite you to do it, because it's really helping people. It's really helping people change their lives and reorient the deck chairs, all right? It gives you a sense of groundedness and rootedness. Now, we'll do more stuff. There's more to do, but I think it's an excellent start. I think it's a wonderful start, and I invite you to participate as you are able, all right? And then the last thing I want to just say quickly. Our Bad Faith screening on October 6th, it is turning up to be a fabulous, fabulous gathering. We have the director of the film who's going to be here with us that day and to talk to us. That's awesome. That is awesome. So I need to ask you if you would, to please invite your neighbors, your colleagues, your friends, your loved ones to join us that day for the screening, because it's going to be fabulous, and I want to have a great turnout for the director who's going to join us here that day. And then finally, let me just say this, and then I'll move on. This party that we're doing on October 24th, I kind of want to create kind of a festival atmosphere that day. I like to make it like a 2 or 3 hour carnival type atmosphere on October 24th. Fun and games and music and dancing, costume making. So I'm looking for ideas. You may have a talent. You may have a special thing that you do that you want to offer. That could be a great teaching tool, something fun and something welcoming. I don't know. Maybe you've got this idea that you want to play with. I'm looking for those kind of ideas, because I want to have stuff all around the campus, right? I want to turn this campus into a carnival on October 24th. And so I need ideas. I need your ideas to make that happen. So talk to me. Let's make something happen on October 24th, okay? And now I want to invite Kate and our team to come and take our offering for the morning. I invite you to give to NCC as you are able. All of your gifts, they matter. They make a difference. They help us sustain our beloved NCC. And I also want to say thanks to those who give online. If you are an online giver, thank you for that. I know oftentimes we don't thank our online givers because you're just automatically sending the money, but I want to say thank you too, because even though you're not putting money in the plate, you are sending us money on a regular basis. You are sending money to NCC all the time, and I want to say thank you to all of our online givers as well. You are the best, and I love you for it. All right? And then finally, while the offering is still being collected, I'd like to just take a moment to direct your attention that way. Everybody see this container? So this is our container of love, our sand container. It contains joys, concerns, and hopes. Okay? Hopes for our world, concern for ourselves and others, and things that we want to celebrate, the things that are enlivening joy in our lives. And so for our final moment here, I know I'm a little bit over, but just bear with me. I want to just take a moment, give me a few minutes, okay? Because I do want to create an opportunity for you. You've heard me speak a lot today, and we cannot leave here until we've taken your prayers, heard all of our prayers, and created a space of expansion and mindful awareness of the need to support and be here for one another. So here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to ask Maya to come on up. Maya, come on up. And while Maya is coming on her way, I'm going to invite those who are in a place of acceptance and receptivity to come on up and pour some sand in our container, some joy, some concern, and some hope. And as we do that, I've asked Maya to lead us in a beautiful, graceful breathing exercise. So as she's doing that, I invite you to come join me at the table to pour some sand, okay? Let's do it together.
So let's just take a moment and find the ground beneath us with our feet. And for those of you that would like to come up and be a part of the sand ceremony, just make your way when you feel comfortable. And let's just gently close our eyes or soften our gaze forward.
We have joy, concerns, and hopes.
And let's just take a couple of breaths in and out, further grounding ourselves. And you'll be hearing some sounds of people talking, and just let that float with you a little bit as you're breathing. Let's just take a breath in for a count of 4. Hold it at the top for a second. And then breathe out just for a count of 5 or 6, a little bit longer than the breath in. Let's just repeat that a couple more times on your own. And as you're breathing, just be aware of the sounds around you. Just notice the sounds of my voice, the sounds of the fans in the background, people talking. And just keep breathing. Settling into your seat a little further. And just let the gravity hold you in your seat. You might even hear your own breath, breathing in and out. You might hear people walking, and that's okay. Just leave that as it is. Continue your own journey inward. Breathing in and breathing out. you have a thought, just leave it there. Like a little cloud in the horizon moves across. Let's just continue to breathe in and out. Now feel your feet on the ground. See if you can notice your body. Is it relaxed? Are there places of tension? Just notice them and see if you can continue to breathe in and out. And see if you can relax your body further into the chair. And let's just take one more breath in. And as you breathe out, just breathe out through your mouth. Just let everything go. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in and just exhale out your mouth. And then let's just slowly, we're going to come back to the room. Just take a moment, take your time. Just slowly maybe look down at the ground and start to center yourself back in the room. And start to come back to your body. And re-enter the space when you're ready.
Roxanna, if it's okay, let's just keep this moment as it is. Let's keep breathing and being together. I invite you to leave as you feel led. Okay? That's it. Let's just breathe and be. All right?